But all it is
baby terms.
baby terms.
Yeah.
I've got a breakdown on my machine and I need that component straight away. So I need to find it somewhere. Not send my component out to get repaired. So ideally someone's got one on the shelf. You pay a fee to grab their cylinder or component, whatever it is, and then you can change it out while it's still, or you can do it in maintenance plans, so you can have that sitting there ready to go. Put it on the machine, and then you send your old broken one back for repair, and that becomes the property of who you bought it off.
There's a couple of things so there was this consignment, and then there's this I'm going to say parts exchange, but we know like in Australia we talk service exchange.
Yeah.
Like let's say, so we got parts exchange, we got consignment, and then there was we had that conversation about where does it sit? Does consignment sit under parts exchange, or does parts exchange sit under consignment?
Well, consignment will probably sit above, because once the transaction starts happening, it goes back to a service exchange or a PEX basis, right?
Yeah.
So all you do on a consignment is allocating those cylinders to that, or the components to that company. So that's it's not whether consignment people generally it hasn't worked a lot, because what happens is they consign it to the customer's warehouse or the customer's mine site or whatever, and then things happen to it, or it doesn't get used, or they get lost and in the inventory, right? So you can consign it to the customer from your own warehouse, so they're not they're saving on warehouse fees and space.
Yeah, so consignment doesn't mean it has to be on their site, which people talk about. No. They get confused with it, right?
You can say we've got our own inventory pool as a company that we're looking to exchange to various other companies or mine sites or miners or whatever, but you can consign some of that stock to customers and guarantee that you'll have it in your warehouse and dispatch it from your warehouse. So they're not, when it comes for the need for it, they're not struggling going around to various different suppliers trying to find the component they need, because you've already guaranteed it to them.
But in terms of what you're doing, like say Akaliko, it's parts exchange is a strategy, and then consignment sits underneath it.
Yeah, well, consignment helps us as well, because we can plan it, and if we look at look at the forecasts where companies given us of what their cylinder usage is. Yeah. We can put a plan in place to make sure we've got enough stock on hand to cover all that needs, and extra stock to cover people off the street when they come in and get an exchange. So, the consignment, the way you manage consignment is by coming up with a plan from a forecast of cylinder usage. That way it's there's enough stock on hand. It's already planned out. It helps us because it plans out our repair and manufacturing and everything. So once there's a need for more cylinders, we can up our stock levels.
And then
bloody hot.
Yeah, a little bit. So I think it's.
I'm sweating all the time. Woo!
You might need to drink a few more beer.
Yeah, service exchange contracts as well can be the same thing. If you win a service exchange contract or a miner or something like that, then basically what you're doing is you are consigning it to them anyway. Yeah. So that's where the confusion comes in. People are like, consignment, we'll chuck it on the site and then they're going to deal with it there. And
they feel like it needs to be on their
potentially
shelf.
It is the same thing for the service exchange contracts, how they work. So
no beer, mate?
Yeah, mate.
Alright.
Why not?
See you in a minute.
It's 42 degrees, I'm going to have another beer.
Yes, sir. Cool. Good.
Thanks, mate.
Pleasure. So in terms of, say, service exchange, use it, send it back when it's no good, we'll give you one, roughly.
You give it to them first,
yep.
And then they change it out on the machine, or they might not change it out straight away. It might be part of a machine rebuild, and then they give you back their core, their old core, back to us.
But not any core, like the one that you gave them.
The same one, yeah. Same type.
So there's a key, right? There's a little bit of administration to understand if it's the same call? Because is there a little bit of possibly tracking involved? And is this the call we gave you? Or is this any call you've just found in the back of your Uncle Derek's yard?
Yeah, well, that can happen. Calls get lost too, so I guess for certain customers, you know, they're pretty sound with their machine knowledge.
Yeah.
They know what they're after, and they expect that out of their suppliers as well. So you need to be right on hand with what the machines are, the technical specifications, and the cross-referencing on part numbers. What can fit what in the system updates to this part number. So if someone gives you a part number, that could mean many components would fit that. The direct replacements from the OEMs and things like that. So that parts interpretation is a big key in it. Yeah.
So I was interested, to chat about, because you have this view on core charges. So generally, there's a core charge at the front end, bits and pieces, but you have a different view in terms of what you're trying to do here. Yeah.
So I guess traditionally, and this is probably stemmed from the way the OEMs have run TEX or SX, there's two initial charges. One's the fee, the service fee, which is what you pay to take that cylinder and use it. The other fee is a core charge, which the supplier or the OEM or whoever you get it off will hold that core charge until you return the old core back to them. So they get the core charge back when they return the cylinder or whatever in a specific time frame. But then once an inspection's done on that component, there's another transaction that will happen, a failed iron aspect. So they pull it apart. Generally, all suppliers are a bit different, what they cover in the initial service fee. Personally, I cover all standard repair costs. So for us, cylinder-wise, it's chroming, honing, all parts.
Yeah.
And then for any major machining, remanufacturing, then that's failed iron. So with the OEM and some other other suppliers, so you pay your service fee, you pay the core charge, return your cylinder, get your core charge back. But then there'll be another inspection, another fee to come on top. And that's where a lot of companies will get stung, because that can be an open checkbook if it's not specified, outlined correctly in the terms and conditions.
Yeah.
So I think the other thing with service exchange, what happens is these tenders or vendor agreements go out, and the way some suppliers obtaining them is by going in really low with the initial service fee, but not quite specifying what's included in that fee, and then it's an open checkbook on failed iron. So some suppliers will go in quite a low service fee, but they don't cover standard repair costs and things like that, or the value of which they're charging their failed iron is significantly higher. So initially to win the contract, it looks good, and the planners and that are like, oh look, this is saving us money, but at the end of the day, is it? Because once all the bills come in, you can work out they're charging significantly more than what you're good in an honest agreement.
Cheers.